Director, Supply Chain Enterprise, Boeing India, manages over 375 suppliers and drives more than $1.4 billion in sourcing for Boeing's commercial, defense and services business. Before joining Boeing, Mr. Bhargava held leadership roles at General Electric, overseeing supply chain, program management and quality, most recently as sourcing leader for GE Transportation in South Africa. He's been recognized among Empower 2024's top 100 executive role models and ET Now's Impactful Supply Chain Leaders 2024. He was also recently awarded as the Inspirational Leader in Supply Chain at the 17th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Leadership Award 2026. Also one of the top supply chain leaders of India by Economic Times. Let's give him a warm round of applause and invite our session moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to invite our panelist, Mr. Jetendra S. Gavankar, CEO, Safran India, Dr. Avinash Menon, Rajendran, IAS MD Kits, Government of Karnataka, Wing Commander P. Madhusoodhanan, VP Aerospace and Defense, TIDCO, Government of Tamil Nadu. Let's give him a warm round of applause. On the panelists, we have Colonel Sanjay Singh, CGM, Uttar Pradesh, Defense Industrial Corridor, UPEIDA, Government of UP.
Am I audible? Okay. I think we still have one panel member missing, but I think we'll do justice to this panel anyways. Good afternoon, everyone. You know, I request the audience to be a little more attentive. It's going to be an interactive session. So I'll request you to participate in this discussion. Without you, it's not going to be as meaningful. We'll get started now. You see, we have a very powerful panel here. Now, you would have heard the topic of discussion is how do we accelerate the strategic electronics manufacturing in India. And as you would imagine, it's not going to work without solid partnership between industry and the government. So to support that, on the panel, we have strong representation from the industry. I'll be doubling up as a panelist as well as the moderator. But on my right, we have Jetendra Gavankar. He's the CEO of Safran in India. And for those who are tracking Safran activities in India, would know that they have made significant progress over the last several years. And they've made several investments, and I think the best is yet to come. And then on my left, we have left a chair for, the chief guest to be here whenever he arrives. But on my left, we have very strong representation from the government. With whatever is happening over the last 10, 11 years, I think it's appropriate for us to hear from them on what additional steps are being taken. So, Mr. Madhusoodhanan, he is the Vice President, Aerospace and Defense, TIDCO, representing the government of Tamil Nadu. And Colonel Sanjay Singh, he is CGM from Uttar Pradesh Defense Industrial Corridor. So we have a good representation, and we were expecting one other guest from the Karnataka state government. But again, I think we can cover for him as well. So with your permission, can we get started? You have to say yes. All right. And you have to be alert because there are going to be questions for all of you. Because it is not just the industry players on the stage and the government here. It has to be all of you. Because what we're going to talk about is how do we take the defense manufacturing to the next level. And I'll start with Boeing first. I'll take advantage of being the moderator here. So we do $1.4 billion annually from India. And we have 375 suppliers, as you would have heard in the introduction. But I'll still say that most of what we do is structures, machining. Now we're getting into the broader value chain. We do a lot of electrical work, and I'll introduce the new member in a minute. We do a lot of electronics work, but I'll still say in the bigger scheme of things, it's very small. And there is a reason why this is small, and we can debate today on what needs to be done. But we are going up the value chain. We're doing castings, forgings, we're doing avionics, actuation, a lot of stuff here with the 375 suppliers we have. So in that context, the electronics being very small, it makes sense to talk what else can be done together with the industry here. So let's get started. And, by the way, I would like to also welcome Dr. Avinash Menon Rajendran. He is Managing Director, KITS, Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society. So welcome. We were missing you, so we just got started. So what we thought we'll do, the topic for discussion is strategic electronics. And it was very inspiring hearing some of the speakers in the morning half. But let me start with JS. JS and I come from the industry, we represent the OEMs. So we'll have a view on how the electronics is doing here. And then, of course, we'll hear from the government. So I'll start with JS. Given the topic that we have, it talks about strategic electronics. But should we not expand the scope to talk about electronics in general? Because whatever we do is about building a capability and capacity here. Your thoughts, please.
Ashwani, electronics is electronics. Then you bifurcate into strategic, non-strategic, commodity, commercial, space electronics. Everything has a little different dynamics, but capability building can start from anywhere. And if I may take a leaf out of what mostly aerospace and defense companies are doing, and there are many in India who are growing, can take the lessons out of the global OEMs of aerospace and defense who don't operate just in the defense segment. So practically all companies do civil military synergy in their business. So the percentage of contribution to the business may vary, but on the foundation of a larger volume business, which is the civil aviation, the lower volume business but a high technology niche product development on the military side happens, and both need to coexist. So if you take a parallel analogy, electronics from a component level to design capability to production, it's not much difference between commercial electronics and defense electronics or strategic electronics. So yes, there are few nuances. You need higher qualification level, you need higher reliability factors, and you need something which never fails. But beyond that, I think capability development can happen. Scaling up to next level can be the next step for such general electronics companies. So I take your point here that it's not so different that you cannot start with one and end up with another. And either way, you can also start with strategic electronics, because I personally know many MSMEs in Bangalore who still do only strategic electronics because they feel that's their forte. And of course, they don't want to diversify into much larger domain. But there are other companies who do a 50-50 kind of a business in both the domains, and both can coexist equally well.
No, thank you. I think for those in the hall who aspire to be a supplier to either Safran or Boeing or Airbus or any other OEM, it's a very important point to note what Jayesh was talking about. Even for us in Boeing, I'll give you an example. We hosted 6 suppliers from India in Seattle. And the question was, how do we pick the best 6? And we thought the people who are experienced in defense could be the best candidate from the electronic standpoint to compete for the commercial work also. So the scope that we're talking about is not just strategic electronics. Whatever we talk here is going to help us on the broader defense electronics and also the commercial electronics, which of course is a bigger scope and takes care of the scale also. Okay, so what we'll do is, before we go to the government representatives, between me and Gavankar, let's share the views where we are today. The question is acceleration of defense electronics. The question is from where? What is the current state today? So maybe, Jayesh, what are your thoughts? What's the baseline today?
See, from design capability perspective, I think Indian ecosystem is not bad. In fact, we have global companies doing design work out of this very city. Uh, so, so that is okay. But when you come to manufacturing, we don't have the foundries which can do the semiconductors part, which India has just got started with Semicon 1.0 and 2.0. We will arrive there in some couple of years from now. And of course, you can go down further and then you go to rare earth material and then you go to magnet, those kind of, I mean, not the magnets, but at least the rare earth material. There will be some dependencies which will exist, but the aim should not be actually to have 100% self-sufficiency. But if we can be self-reliant, if we can have partnerships with couple of countries whom we can rely upon and build the entire ecosystem with them, because if the aim would be that everything can come here on happen in India and nobody else needs to support us, it's not going to happen. Let's be straight and forward on that. Coming to capabilities, as I said, design, production, and raw material. There are three aspects of it. We are only good in one right now. The other two needs to be developed. Maybe the third one will always remain the deficient one. But we should accept that fact and work upon and work around that.
Yeah. So I think what you heard from JS, resonates well with me also. I'll give you an example from Boeing. When we started, the thought process was India is very strong in engineering capability. And the question to me was, can we do more of build to spec? Which is what the core thing, everybody is talking about, owning the design here, owning the IP and so forth. The assessment that we performed about a year back was not very encouraging. What we do here is more of engineering services, which is like bits and pieces of the broader engineering that we talk about. And what has been missing here has been the design capability, product design. Now, I'll be honest, in the last 1 year, if you look at, some of the star performers like BEL, HAL and all, there has been a lot of development that has happened here. But we still think, and again, I'll be happy to talk to anybody who differs in this assessment, that we still a lot more build to print than build to functional spec. And if we have to go to the next level, which is what acceleration to me means, we have to be more in the build to spec area. Now, with all the progress that is made, a lot of parts are still imported. We have suppliers in India who do electronics, but I'll tell you, 75 to 80% of the parts are getting imported. So the question is, do we have the right component supply chain here? So I think I would rate, the situation in context of the baselining as we are in the journey. There are a lot of good things happening here, but we still have a long way to go. So with that, I'll go to the government stakeholders, maybe starting with Madhusoodhanan first. You heard me and JS talk about where the industry stands today. Do you agree with our assessment from the government eyes?
Good morning and thanks a lot. That was a very easy question. Do you agree with me? It has only one answer. Yes. I can't differ from this. I have to say yes.
No,
that's the easiest question,
yeah,
which probably can be put forth.
So don't get biased. I mean, he worked in Boeing earlier, so it's a no surprise that he agrees with the thought process. But let me ask Colonel Sanjay Singh, do you agree with this assessment?
Hello. Yeah, am I audible? See, what I have understood with what JS said, what you have been saying, is that we are currently into build to print. Why people are not going into R&D? Even after knowing that we have got the capability to design and develop. That's where the government is coming in. If I talk of the government of UP, that is for UPDIC, there are 2-3 verticals on which we are working in a very big way. At the very outset, while we were creating this defense industrial corridor, we understood that one of the sector or one of the vertical which requires a lot of money, and that is R&D, which most of the people or most of the MSMEs will not be able to do it. So when our government went into a memorandum of understanding with the two center of excellence, that is IT Kanpur and IT BHU, the problem statements were invited and they were also given by the people in the industry the complete funding to do the R&D from taking it from TRL 1 to TRL 9 was done by government of UP. That is one way of supporting this ecosystem. The second thing was, of course, you are aware that where does an individual or an industry take its product for testing? So to start with, in the last 2 years, the government of India, what they have done is that they are funding the creation of the testing infrastructures, which as a matter of policy is to graduate into a certification center. There is another area which is being explored. Yes, there is a shortage of the availability of the test facilities that are there with the already existing DPSUs. They were never created to cater for outside world. But now those facilities are also being created. So now I am going to sum up what I wanted to say was that the R&D facility or the design facility which was lacking here can now be brought up, and then we will have a complete canvas. And of course, I do agree with JS that we should not be aiming at to have everything in our place. So that is from the point of view of the support that the government is giving. I was specifically talking about the government of UP, and I'm sure the other governments are also doing the same thing.
Yeah, thank you. One other thing, you may want to consider, R&D is definitely one element. The testing and certification is one element. But if you put together what it takes to qualify a part, that's where, from Boeing's standpoint, we've not been able to make a business case to put work here as far as the global sourcing is concerned. Now, on top of it, if you look at what suppliers are doing here, the scale is very, very small. And where China, for example, has excelled is that they have the benefit of that scale that allows them to be cost competitive. So in our opinion, there are bigger things to solve for, but I agree with you that R&D is one big element, and that's where I think beyond those things too, we'll have a lot of help needed there. So Dr. Avinash will come to you. You've been hearing the discussion on what the challenges are. What is your assessment so far?
So good afternoon, everyone. So I'm pretty new to the department, so let me just say that as a disclaimer before I start voicing my opinions. Regarding the capability of Bangalore and Karnataka with regard to design, manufacturing, and also the materials which are required for that, my understanding is as of now we are pretty much in the progressive state in the design phase of it, even though we lag very much behind in the manufacturing part. I'm not talking about the sourcing of raw materials, which we are nowhere in the picture. But regarding design, I feel we are progressing. There are companies, I am made to understand that Intel and GE have their very, outside the US, one of the biggest centers for design and designing of elements or chips or whatever it is, that it is in Bangalore is what I am made to understand. So the designing, we are there. Regarding the testing facilities, yes, I would like to concur with the UP government that Government of India has been supporting Government of Karnataka in putting up their testing centers. We have one in Mysore as well. It's called Lahari, but my understanding is it is for basic testing facilities and not the high-end testing requirements which would be required from multinationals. But yes, for MSMEs and for startups, this is a good testing bed or a good facility which they can use. I'm also told that in IISc that we have state-of-the-art equipment for which can be rented or leased on a day-to-day basis, for which they can book their testings, and that is again some of the facilities that is being provided by the government. Centers of excellences are there. Again, we are hand-holding, the government of Karnataka is hand-holding companies, startups in both financially or be it in support for R&D. It is something which we are tying up with premier institutes like IISc or IIIT or IIT in Dharwad. So we are helping them collaborate with the industry or the academicians in the field so that they also have better opportunities to further their R&D or further further their particular company for that matter.
Yeah, thank you. And what we'll do is we'll invite some thoughts from the audience also. So if somebody can share the mic. So before we come to you, I'll just ask JS, what other roadblocks do you see, and how does Safran view the current status and progress of strategic electronics or electronics in general?
Yeah, I forgot to mention, but I'll take the opportunity that Safran is setting up a pretty big manufacturing plant in Bangalore for strategic electronics per se. And that should be operational next year. It's already under construction and installation on equipments, hiring of people, skilling, training, and those type of things are right now going on. On back of it, it's not only a production center, we are setting up another engineering center for strategic electronics, and it's about 120 people already working from that facility. So that gives you a fair bit of idea of where we are coming from on this sector. 2 years ago, we were not in India in this, though electronics and defense is one of the core business for Safran other than engines. But now we are betting big on India. And of course, Bangalore becomes a natural choice for electronics, so we are here. Just one more addition to what I was trying to convey you. I have seen the design capabilities. When I was saying it was more from a system design perspective, not from a component design. But at the same time, what Avinash was mentioning, the chips level design by TI or the Qualcomm on Intel is happening right here. So from a manpower and ability, capability perspective, does the Indian diaspora working on this segment has it? Yes, very much. Is an Indian industry has it? Probably not. Can the government help this transformation happen? Maybe the government can answer, but that is what should be looked at.
Okay, maybe you had a question. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, in fact, I've been a design engineer for the last 50 years, practicing design engineer. I think we need to hold. Yeah. Okay, so I've been a design engineer, a practicing hands-on design engineer for the last 50 years. Okay, now my take on this, your question was very, very different. The problem is in last 3 decades, we have systemically made sure that we lose competence to design and innovate in India. The moment the software boom came in India, everybody started going to software. We started converting all our engineers into clerks. And now with AI, even their software competence is going to dogs. Because now they are all relying on Claude. We don't even get the software developers today, good software developers. So the point is, where is the competence to design? No colleges. The curriculum does not talk about design. All these premier tier 1 institutes, they only talk about research. Their faculty does not know how to design a product or a system. How can we expect this kind of competence to come up? And industry, here, the industry, the problem. See, we will not talk about GCC. GCC is not Indian. I'm sorry. All the competence there, it's not for Indian ecosystem to be used. Okay, all IP developed in India by Indian engineers are registered in all the global country, their home bases. So I will not consider them as Indian ecosystem. Yes, it helps our engineers become good, but then how many of them are willing to come out and set up their own entrepreneurship or the design firm or whatever? They don't. So I think there's a major disconnect in design competence. Unless that is filled up, we will not have product design, system designs in India. That is a major bottleneck that we are facing. All the designs that are being done here, whatever that are started being supplied to the defense, aerospace, whatever, they're all still jugars and integration of or copy and minor iteration of the global designs or copied from somewhere else. They are not creation. We don't need only the competence to design to spec. We need the competence to create the design as per the requirement, develop the specs. We Indian design engineers are pretty good in meeting the specs because it's implementation design. But who will create our requirement, and particularly in defense, our requirement may be a bit different from what is being done in Europe, what they need in Europe and US, and what has been done by them, our specs. of all the acquisition for the strategic electronics are based on global specs. Is that fine? Our requirement may be different. So we need to have our own specs, and then we need to have a people who can create design products as per the new specs that are needed.
So I don't know how many people heard him talk. He's bringing up a very interesting point. I mean, he's going beyond build to spec. He's talking about innovation. Can we have something on our own versus building to a global design? Okay, very good thought. Anybody in the panel would like to react to this point, please?
That's a great thing. I would like to start the response to this, quoting JS. He said, capability starts anywhere. As of date, what you said is a fact. But that capability building cannot be just addressing that particular requirement. We need people who can undertake basic designs, for which actions are taken at various governments. I can quote about what Tamil Nadu government is doing, while we have Colonel Sanjay and we have people from every state can quote about what they are doing. But we cannot, it would not be possible to undertake very high-end capability development till the time we start small. So let's start the basic design capabilities, which is already in vogue in most of the states. It's a matter of time before this actually kicks in. You brought up a very valid point. From hardware, we've moved completely to software, and from software, we are nowhere. So the first step is understanding the product, which is very well understood. So it's a matter of time before it happens. The manufacturing ecosystem is already in place.
My question is, where are the mentors to groom those design engineers? There are no senior design engineer. The design engineer, when he graduates to a senior level, he becomes a manager. So they need the young team, and young people have fire, they have dynamic, they want to learn and become good design engineer, but there are no groomers, no mentors, no seniors who can handle and groom them. So, whether in industry, academia is zero.
Yeah, no, I think point well taken, and I think what I think some of the members are talking about is, see, we have handled some of these products at the ground level. We work very closely with suppliers, so I've seen all kinds of problems happening here. I echo your sentiments. I understand that skill development is a big problem. Today, the other problem is attrition. And, you know, for those of you who are tracking the ground level reality, it's as big as 25 to 30%. So people do not stay here. And even if you talk about aerospace and defense, we're not losing people to our aerospace competition. People from aerospace are going to Amazon, Google, and Microsoft as well. So I think it's a great point. It's a self-assessment that if we had to go to the next level, we have to figure out a way how to do it. And we think, and as Madhusoodhanan said, that it should be a process of crawl, walk, run. If we try and shoot for something very big, I think the probability of success is low. And there is so much development happening here. I mean, there is, let's not be disappointed. I mean, there are companies here, I would not like to name them. Safran is a great example. I mean, they're moving work here. And some of the things that he was talking about will come to Boeing as well. So the industry is playing its role. It's about a recognition that that's a gap here today, which we'll talk about how to bridge that. JS or anybody else want to add on this? On his point, I mean, do you want to add anything? Or?
No, I partially or probably wholly agree with him. But academia has always been a weak point for any sector, not electronics. And you know the answer, but the best of the brains don't go there to teach. So can we solve that problem? If we solve that problem, this will get solved. And it's nothing to do with electronics. It's across the sector.
Absolutely. So I think we can talk full day on what you're saying, but I'll move on. Otherwise, I'll fail in my responsibility as the moderator. Now, let's move on. We've talked enough of what the roadblocks are. Let's get to the core question. How do we accelerate what we want to do? So the question is, if we have to accelerate, where do we want to go? I mean, you heard him talk about, can we innovate in India? So my question to the panel members is, and maybe I'll start with you, what should be our goal and mission? What should we shoot for?
Let me again go back to what Jay said. There is not a big divide between strategic electronics and the commercial electronics or even electronics related to toys. It's the same. All that is needed is, for example, when I look at it from the perspective of government of Tamil Nadu, we are right there. We are the #1 state when it comes to electronics. Almost 40% of computer peripherals are made there. Almost 40% of electronic export. Let me put it, 15% of global iPhones are made in Tamil Nadu. So our last year exports, 15 billion, was not matched by the #2 and #3 states put together. So we are already there. Automotive electronics, we are there. Almost 67% of electric vehicles, two-wheelers produced in India or produced in Tamil Nadu. So that means electronics are produced there. All that is needed is not a redesign. It's just a matter of reorienting. And here comes when I look outside, let me look what happened in the 70s and 60s in US. The strategic electronics adopted the COTS electronics. Then if I look at Japan, what happened there? The automotive electronics, what was there, went, leveraged itself to produce sensors for military application. Let me look at Israel. They mastered the art of dual-use electronics. So it's just a matter of time to leverage what capabilities are there, which we in the state of Tamil Nadu are already started doing that. How do we ensure that the capabilities which are available in commercial electronics, serving whichever domain, be it medical electronics, automotive, communication, textile machinery, doesn't matter. All that is needed is a quality update, a reliability update, and that's it. And we have already started that process. So results would be visible shortly. While we in Tamil Nadu have the head start of having a functional electronic industry, the other states may take a bit of time, and the country as a whole will also catch up. So it's not a question of whether we can do it or when, it's just a question of when we will be able to do that. We already have the foundation, just a matter of building over the foundation.
All right, Colonel Sanjay Singh, please go ahead.
I will take on from where Madhu had said and from the question the gentleman had raised. Now we don't start and we don't reinvent the bicycle. What is the roadmap of the defense sector growth in our country? If I am asked, I will segregate into three portions. First is indigenization. Somebody has made it, we bring it here, we indigenize. Then we innovate, scale it up, and then become a global player. So for the time being, leave aside the global player. If we have to start somewhere and we have been able to indigenize this, where do we do it? Now here comes the role of the government. When it incentivizes the producing the manufacturing facility in our country. Now the dual use technology that is there, what Madhu was talking, so Tamil Nadu is the first or the lead state, Karnataka is the second, and UP is the third. That means till about 10 years back, I will say, I come from there, it was nowhere there. So if we have achieved this growth, that means we are growing, we are doing something. And things will not happen in just one day. We are heading somewhere, and there are a lot of mindset changes that is happening. I am seeing it in the IITs also, whom we nominated there as a center of excellence. IIT Madras is doing a wonderful job. IIT Kanpur is doing a wonderful job. IIT Delhi is doing a wonderful job. In doing what? In incubating and training these people and supporting this. Now, of course, they need funds, and the government of UP is funding them. They have to come up with a problem statement. So if that be so, I don't think there is any roadblock as far as the growth is concerned. And because of this change of mindset, once you do the design and somebody is pretty sure why people are doing it, because they know that 2 years down the line, there is a lot of money in this. You hold the IP and then you see how the money flows. JS will agree to this. Safran has done it. And all the countries that were given the examples, they became the example to the world by doing this only. So I have this much to say.
Okay. So I think what we're hearing is like sky is the limit. We need to have a roadmap and build the capability over a period of time steadily. Okay. Dr. Avinash, do you agree with that thought?
Absolutely, Karnataka is a shining example of that. We have grown over the past few decades very well, and we have grown beyond the limits of which our city can hold as well. I believe all of you will share the same sentiments. So yes, the development in the city has not matched the pace of the growth. We need to we need to grow a long way in that. But yes, coming back and regarding our semiconductor and electronic industries, we are very good at the non-manufacturing, the fabless part of things, is what my limited understanding is. So we have companies which are designing, be it the GCCs or be it our own indigenous companies. We have capabilities for that. But one major thing which I feel is lacking, I'm from Kerala, so is the lack of a strong primary or secondary education system in Karnataka, which can actually push people into these higher technical education systems or universities which we have. So once that bridge is solved, I know it's a far-fetched thinking, but once we have a good student community or cohort which can go up to these good, well-established technical universities. Because I was just hearing some of my colleagues speak. Everyone speaks of IIT Madras, IIT Kanpur, and IIT Delhi and Mumbai, but there is no IIT Bangalore or IIT Karnataka which everyone speaks of. No, something which is so established, in spite of us being called the Silicon Valley of India and all of that. So that the academia here. So these are things which I believe, if we focus on, will help us in nurturing our domestic and homegrown, skill set, and in improving nationally and domestically, rather than depending on GCCs for providing employability or otherwise, I feel.
That's another good point. I think the thought is, if you look at a roadmap, you'll need people to do it. And where do you start from? Do you start from experienced people, or you attack the people in the universities and build the talent right from there? And I think when we go to the last segment, which talks about what industry and the government can do about it, I think we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's an excellent point. JS, your thoughts? Go ahead.
I wanted to add a point to what he was saying, and it answers your point a bit. What we have done, and not only we, like there is a university in Baroda called Gati Shakti University. It's primarily under Ministry of Railways, and it's been called University of Transport, and now they have added aerospace to their domain. It's a good thing, and they started with Airbus and we joined them. And both of us, what we are doing is, we are not doing any funding for project R&D. What we are doing is, we are changing the curriculum. We are asking students what they should study and which year of the degree they should study. We have even gone one step ahead, and we have now inducted 4 to 6 students in our production facility for 6 months for them to understand that what they studied in the previous semester, how is it practically on the ground. And Airbus is doing the same. Now we both are, of course, French OEMs. This same thing can be done by Indian companies as well. So the gap of having a good quality mentor can be bridged this way. So I just wanted to come in on this, and to your point also, if Karnataka doesn't have IIT, but it has the largest number of engineering colleges. So maybe they can bridge the gap.
Yeah, but I think one point to note is, and I'll share my experience, the question is, in spite of having IITs and colleges, how do you excite the students? And I'll share an example with you. I went to one of the IITs to teach GD&T, which is a mechanical engineering subject. And I asked the class, how many people would like to be in engineering and manufacturing? There were none. And I'm talking about the mechanical engineering batch. They all wanted to migrate to the IT or, in the new world, the AI world. So the question is, how do we excite the people to stay and pursue this field so that, the skill that we're talking about, the gap is bridged. So that's an important point, and I don't know what the right answer is. We are engaging with academia, we are engaging with institutes, talking about how the curriculum looks like. We are talking to the institutes about the internship. In fact, the government has done a very good thing about starting an apprenticeship, which allows students to be in industry for 1 year. I think these kind of steps will help people understand what this aerospace is all about, and get excited about it. Okay? But again, there are multiple thoughts around this. So let's get to the last segment, because we'll open it up for questions toward the end. We understood what the gaps are. We understood what we are shooting for. We understood sky is the limit. We understood innovation is the need. How do we do this? So there is an industry view that JS and I will bring, and then there's a government view. The question is, who goes first? So maybe we'll start with the government. What are your thoughts on how do we accomplish a goal?
Look, as a government, we are sanguine of these things, and we offer the best that can be given as an incentive. We don't dole out things. Now, to attract the talent, the industry, what do we do? And what government can do is how do they hold hand? They provide incentive. Incentive for come to the state and open the manufacturing sector. So, if now currently sitting in this electronic summit, now the government has got two policies. The one policy, the electronic policy of UP is in support, or rather it gives a boost to the central government policy. Then in addition, there is a policy on the defense and aerospace. And very beautifully, I must tell you what is the name of this policy. The name of the policy is the UP Aerospace and Defense Unit and Employment Promotion Policy. At the very outset, the name tells the intent of the government. The government is not in the business to do business, but only to offer incentive. And what is the takeaway by the government? It only wants to promote and establish the ecosystem. What does it do? I have got the complete list that I will share. The amount of incentives that the government is given. This is the second version of the policy, that is 2.0. The first came in 2018. So we are doing it, and we are holding the hand, not only by just bringing the investment here and thus forgetting about it. We are hand-holding the investors to the end. Even the smallest problem if they face, we go up to the central ministries, even into the extent that even they are having a problem to get the licenses. So if you have got any other suggestions, please do let us know. Our government will be very much ready to help and support the ecosystem that will be brought in by the manufacturing and the industry.
No, absolutely. I think your thoughts are most welcome. The central government, over the last, I'll say, 8-9 months, have rolled out multiple projects, about 20 odd of them, introduced more flexibility in the FDI norms, rolled out PLIs and so forth. The state government incentives, does it complement the central government, or is it over and above that?
Please understand, Ashwani, central government gives out the policy. Where does this manufacturing unit come and get located? On a land. The land is a state subject. Then to provide a good environment for the industry. I'm coming to the ecosystem subsequently. Environment is law and order. What is the second requirement? Uninterrupted power supply. What is the third requirement? That the setup in which it is there, it is adequate enough, or it is open to the supply chain that the individual will have. That is what the state government will do, and is doing everything which has to be done on ground. The central government comes up with a policy, and yes, there are few sectors in which these central ministries give out the licenses, and of course the export licenses you can agree. But rest of all things rest with the state. So if we don't perform, that means we are not opening up this sector and ensuring that we are attractive to the industry.
Okay, all right, thank you. How about Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, let me answer both the questions. First is, when it comes to the incentive part, we are completely divergent from what the UP stance is. Okay, there are plenty of states, each one has its own policies. We also provide incentives. To quote the famous Tata Steel, this one, incentives is not the main thing. Here comes, you asked a question, who takes the first step, whether the industry or the government? I would say, in this case, both industry and the government take steps together. Let me quote examples. First is, we have something called a skilling program, where the syllabus for everything what is needed is defined by the industry. It's not the government which defines it. It was called as non-Modularan earlier, now it's called as Tamil Nadu Skill Development Program. Any industry defines what is the sort of training which is needed for a person who's coming out of the institute. Second thing is, this training is not provided by the government. It is provided by the industry for whom we pay. So in case, let's say a company ABC Enterprises needs someone, they define the syllabus, we train, in case they need 10 people, we can train 100 people, we pay money for it. The training is imparted by that organization. And from amongst them, they can choose. They are free to choose, they are not free to choose. Let's say if Boeing decides the syllabus, Boeing trains them, Boeing may take them. Boeing provides the training, Boeing provides the syllabus. They could be picked up by Safran, they could be picked up by Airbus, they could be picked up by anyone. It doesn't matter to us, but the main thing is, whatever is needed is provided. Second thing is, we have a scheme called as University Research Park. Here's the beautiful thing. Industry comes up with their problem statements. We choose academia from the state of Tamil Nadu. TIDCO, my company, provides funds for undertaking the applied research. Here comes the real beautiful thing. The problem statement of industry, the knowledge of the academia, which includes that of faculty and that of students, funding by Government of Tamil Nadu, not in full, partially. IP, we have no stake. So here's a beautiful element where it's just not incentivization, land and other things. So it's beyond that. We have already started practicing that. It's open to anyone. The third thing is about, what was the I forgot the other question which you asked. I'm sorry. Keep talking. Okay. There was one more question, whether the state government's incentives are going to be complementary or is it going to be in lieu of the central government subsidies. As far as the government of Tamil Nadu is concerned, if the central government allows permits.
May I now request the panel to please, close up your final thoughts. I know this is very welcome disruption which we have just witnessed, I can say that this is the second time that we have, the Chief Minister of Karnataka with us. So, which is, I think, it's a great thing. We started SES, 15 years back, and we never knew that it's, going to grow so much and become a popular and useful thing. So, I am request you, sir, to, kindly, conclude your session and, whatever final thoughts you have, please. It's been a great session, by the way. It's been a great session. Thank you.
No, thank you. I think I want to thank everyone for participating. I know we got a special guest in between, but I think what we talked about, and just in the spirit of winding it up, you heard from the government stakeholders. There's plenty of help here. It is pretty clear that over the last several years, there has been great interaction between industry and government. They have been very receptive, and a lot of progress that at least we have seen as OEMs as on account of excellent support from the government. So I want to thank them for being enabler to this progress. But I think, as everybody said, it's the industry that has to take the step, coupled with some level of support from the OEMs like Safran and Boeing. And that's where we think, with the moves that Boeing and Safran has made already and the potential that we see, I think we have a very bright future. So I'll encourage you, all of you, to interact with all of us, and let's make this work together. So with that, I want to thank all the panel members and all of you for being patient. I know it's a lunchtime, and thanks ELCINA for having us on the panel. Thank you so much.
May I now request CMD Digital Circuits, Mr. Subhash Goyal, past president of ELCINA, to please join us on the stage and felicitate our moderator and panelists on the stage. Let's give a warm round of applause for our session moderator, Mr. Ashwani Bhargava, Senior Director, Supply Chain, Boeing. Thank you for the seamless session. Mr. Jetendra S. Gavankar, CEO, Safran India, for sharing your valuable insights. Thank you so much. Dr. Avinash Menon Rajendran, IAS MD, KIDS, Government of Karnataka. Wing Commander P. Madhusoodhanan, VP Aerospace and Defense, TIDCO, Government of Tamil Nadu. Colonel Sanjay Singh, CGM, Uttar Pradesh, Defense Industrial Corridor, UPEIDA, Government of UP. I request you all to come together for the group photograph. Once again, can we give a huge round of applause for our session moderator and the panelists on the stage.
So special thanks to all the speakers, and I think we have the 3 top states from defense on the stage today. Thank you very much for being here. We have a talk by Lieutenant General Sanjay Verma on legal strategies for India's defense sector. Being a bit late, may I suggest that we do this immediately after lunch at 2:15, and we will request that the speakers of the tri-service plans to immediately follow that. I think your 10 minutes, sir, will fit in very well, and you are obviously fit to be part of the tri-service plans as well. So, so we'll start at 2:15, and then we'll go ahead with that. So we look forward to having everybody back here after lunch before 2:15 p.m. please. Thank you so much everyone.